Okay, so this is part 2. This is the second week of rehearsals, and this is just my weekly update. So we began, on the 25th this week. This was just our Blood Brothers rehearsal. Where we started off last week was just before my character, the narrator, just before his song. So we started off from there this week. I knew it was coming, I was really scared. But I was pleasantly surprised. So what I was asked to do was, I was asked to just perform it the way I want to. That's what Kelly wanted first, just see what a feeling for it was. And I hadn't actually performed it yet, so I hadn't really practiced. I hadn't warmed up my voice either, so I knew it wasn't going to be amazing. And there's kind of a weird bit near the end of the song where you're not sure, without the soundtrack, you're not sure what key it's in or what the pace is. So I was really scared for that part, but it didn't sound as bad as I thought it was going to. So that's good. Yeah, I got good feedback. She said she liked it. She said that there's words in there that I'm just gonna have to change. Some of the vowels that I say are different than what a Liverpudlian would, but I find it really hard to sing in that accent. So there's certain words that I can do because the man on the soundtrack does them, but other words I'm just not there. But it's good, and I think with some work and some practice, it could get there. After that, we ran through it again, but this time blocked it. So we brought Mrs. Lyons and Mrs. Johnstone on, because the song is sort of about the narrator is like the devil, and he's the grief of the play. He represents Mrs. Johnstone's grief, and he follows her around on her way home from being fired. So the blocking had to be quite dramatic and quite important. So the part where he sings directly in her face, then there's the devil, he's right behind you, then I'm behind her. And we just played around for a bit before we got to where we thought was the best choice for it. And then we just kept rehearsing it and do like step-by-step blocking, keep going, see if we liked it, change it if we didn't. Yeah. And slowly as we kept doing that, my confidence with the song grew, because it was just like, okay, let's just keep going. So I did. And yeah, I was impressed. I mean, I knew that my vocals wasn't on point that day, but that's just because I hadn't warmed up, but it was a rehearsal, so it doesn't really matter as badly. After that, we carried on with the script, just carried on the scenes. I wasn't needed, but I made sure I was there to carry things on and off, to give an input, because I'm also assistant director. So yeah, I was there, carried on. Then we shown back what we'd done, because while we were doing that, the other group were working on our house and some of the dances and a street scene that's going before the play starts. So we shown back, and yeah, audience seemed to like it a bit. Nobody really gives me any feedback. I don't really get feedback, but I think that's a good thing, because people pick up on the bad things, and I don't get bad or good, so I must be doing something right. So yeah, that was the 25th. Then the 26th was another Blood Brothers rehearsal. This one was adding me into Kids Game. So this is my understudy part as Sammy. I haven't played Sammy before this point, so I was really scared, but I knew how I wanted to play him, because I know what I've seen the play. I've done the play at GCSE, so I know what type of character he is. And he's one of the older kids in the family, so he's about 9, and when he's playing with the other kids, he's like the oldest, so it's his gang. So I knew that he had to be quite, just like a bit of a brat, really, a bit of a brat. And the song Kids Game is a song to have fun with, so I just let go, and I just like used a lot of movement, used a lot of like just like faces, a lot of facial expressions, and it went really well, and I really enjoy playing Sammy now, and I think I can't wait to see his journey through the play, because he's not a principal character, but you see that he goes from this kid that's quite a naughty kid, and how that affects his upbringing and how that affects him as an adult. And then the ending of the play really is his doing with the gun that Mickey finds. So yeah, it may point to question that if Sammy wasn't brought up that way, would that have ever happened? And is it fate? Is it superstition? You never really know. So I'm really excited for Sammy. Just gonna read a bit. Yeah, so it's the first time playing Sammy. I had to understand his movements as a 9-year-old, because obviously I'm not 9, but we've done a lot of work with Anushka on being insane, like playing a really insane character, and to do that you have to take yourself to being a child. So I took energy from that and pull it into Sammy. He also has different voices that he uses in the song. So there's a bit where he's like a Russian mad scientist, Professor Howe, and it's just really fun and physical, and I can jump around and just have a great time. So yeah, that was really fun. After that, we shown that back, and I had to explain to Tal what the blocking was, what I was doing, what he was doing, because he's Principal Sammy, but he was needed for our house. No, he was needed for the other scenes in Blood Brothers, and I was needed for Kids Game, because I hadn't done that. So it's like we were both playing Sammy at the same time. So I had to watch him, and he had to watch me, and we kind of like set ourselves on, like, I'm playing Sammy this way, I'm playing it this way, but we're going to do the same things, because we want it to be cohesive on each night. But yeah, it's a different actor, and I will bring my Sammy to the stage, but it's represented in his Sammy as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, I had to understand that. We showed back to people really enjoyed it. I got loads of laughs. You get a real feel for it once you show it back, and again, I didn't really get any feedback. People were just laughing, and that's good. And no one's ever seen me let go as an actor before and play that comedic role, I think, at college. So that was really fun for me to do. Then we did a run through of Blood Brothers, where I went to play the narrator with our scripts. We did a run through that was okay. It kind of felt, and what's the word, like, it had no energy to it, but I think it's because we were nervous because we hadn't ran it from we'd just been blocking each day, each scene, and now Kelly was like, let's run it. And then at the end of that day, she said on Friday that we have to run it without a script, so that was kind of pressure, but I'll get to that. But yeah, it went okay. So I had to learn my script. That was a big thing for that week. Now on to the 27th. This was our house singing call day. So again, I'm not really in our house, so it's kind of a day where just an ensemble member, but that's fine. We did Wings of the Dove, but it became apparent that we need to stay as an ensemble, because if you're not an ensemble on stage, then you just lose the community of the play, really. And staying as an ensemble, especially when we're harmonising, is really important. So that was something we had to work on. We also have to find character. Even though we're not named characters, finding a character to play will add a lot to the play. So if I'm playing an old man, I will play that old man in every scene. And it gives that community feel that, yeah, there's different ages, different ethnicities, different... So really finding the character, not just through the acting, but through the song. So that's something I still yet to decide on, because I'm not sure, because I'm playing the teacher in one song, I'm not sure if I want to continue that and play the teacher throughout and have him as a community member. But yeah, I'm not sure. Then we did Kids Game again, but this time we added the scene after to it, which again is just hilarious to do and hilarious to watch for the audience, I think, because they really enjoyed it. So this about Sammy is confronting Linda. Sammy's meant to play this big man, not big man, but yeah, big man, and everyone's scared of him. But Linda's kind of not, because she wants to protect Mickey. So she stands up to him and he doesn't really know what to do, so he just runs away. But we do it in a really fun way where I get on a horse, on a fake horse, and I'm going, come on gang, we don't want to play with these anyway, they're just little kids. And then we I walk off, well, gallop off, and they don't come. And then I go back, stare at them all, and I go, come on! And they all come because they're then scared. But it's a really, really funny thing to do. And I'm getting a real feel for Sammy. And I just keep telling Tal, and Tal keeps telling me he's just a legend to play. He's just really fun. But I think there's going to be a complete energy switch when we get later on in the play, which is scary for me because he's quite a butch character. But I was shocked with how I'm playing Sammy now, so I feel like I'll be able to do it. But yeah, that was really fun. On to the 28th. This was our street rehearsal. And this was our, Blood Brothers. So, basically, sorry about that, but basically, at the start of the play, we're having the street. Now, the street is not in either era, it's just a street that shows community, the people. So, Blood Brothers is from like the 60s, from like the 60s, and our house is like the 80s. So, we don't really put an age to the street, it's just a representation of the street. This was a day of lots of confusion because people were not sure, including me, if on this street I'm playing my character or I'm just a character, not from either play, just someone I'd see on the street. So that took a while to get in everyone's head. Then the big thing I got from it was that naturalism is important in this bit because it's got to look like a street. Okay, we've got people pretending to be lampposts, but the things that happen in the street have to be natural. So there was people doing things that you just don't see in streets and overplaying. So me, Hayden and Jake, we decided to just play some teenagers that sat at the back eating some sweets and just chatting. And it turned out that the people loved it and that it was really good and we're keeping it in. So we kind of ended up to be the favourite because we looked the most natural. So from that we then devised more and the street sort of changed, and Aspen, who she isn't an assistant director, but her and Kerrin, the other assistant director, has a lot of ideas. So Kerrin just thought it'd be nice to have Aspen on board as well, which turned out really good actually. So that was blocked, and it looks really good apparently. I haven't seen it because I'm in it, but the only confusion now is that how we're going to include me, because I'm sort of playing the narrator and then I'm playing that teenage boy, and then straight after that, like seconds after, I'm the narrator, so we're not sure how that's going to be done yet. But again, it's all about devising, just trying things out. Then the 29th, which was today, which is a Friday, this was our dance, our house dance day. So we did Wings of the Dove blocking. So it was all about blocking today. Like Ella knew exactly who was going to be in that scene and what characters were needed. So the principals were in both dances, Baggy Trousers and Our House. I was in both, but Wings of the Dove, I'm a dancer, Baggy Trousers, I'm the teacher, so it's kind of a bit different. So the Wings of the Dove dance has changed a lot. We don't actually dance the start now. We come in because it's like a wedding and we're at the side dancing. And then we all do like a big like conga line, but different. But it's meant to have that enjoyable... They keep telling us that these dances need to be dances like we've danced every day, like the Macarena, we do it at every party. The Cha-Cha Slide, it has to be something that looks like it's a family thing, like a community thing, that everyone knows this dance. Not that we're thinking about in our head, so it's hard to do that. But when we showed back to Kelly, my partner for the dance actually left. So my mind was everywhere because my partner wasn't there, and it was okay doing bits by myself, but when we had to get into line to do ensemble pieces, we were missing a person. So instead of leaving a gap, someone would stand by me, which would throw everything else off. So it kind of looked like a big mess. But once we explained, and once Ella explained, once we all knew that there's partners missing, then it was fine. Baggy trousers blocking was kind of just me waiting around because the teacher's not in it much. I just needed to understand his posture, understand the way he sings. He's quite posh, so because he's a teacher, so I'm doing that. There's not really much to say about the teacher because he's only in a little bit, sorry. But yeah, he's enjoyable, if that's anything. After that, we then shown back and did our Blood Brothers run through without scripts. Now, I kind of feel like I have it easy being the narrator because he has a lot to say, but he does it in rhyming and like poems. So the one line goes into the next one very easily, so it's easily for me to remember. Other people in the cast, like Mrs. Johnston, she really struggled today, and it didn't take away from her character, but she kept asking for line, but she has a lot to learn, so I get that, and hers are very different, and she's the centre of the story, so she's in everything, so she has a lot to do, but we all did really good, I think. I got really good feedback. Kelly said my vocals for the song were good. I disagreed, but maybe I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I didn't warm up, and if she thinks it was good not warmed up, then it must be excellent warmed up. And getting a real feel for that song without the script in my hand, because when we did it with the script in my hand, it was kind of like I already knew the song, but it's like a protection. But without that, you've got nothing, so I had to play the character to protect Lance from the criticism, if that makes sense. But yeah, I liked that. The milkman, he needs a lot of work. I'm not sure what he is yet, and I think that's okay. I'm kind of really going for that. At the moment, it's not old enough, I don't think. He needs to be old and just whatever, love. I don't care if you can't pay. You need to pay. But the way my character, when I do the character, he doesn't come across with a Liverpudlian accent. But I don't think that's a problem. Because the gynecologist, who I got really good feedback for, Kelly said my characterisation was amazing for that, and she loved how that's come along. So he's not Liverpudlian, so the milkman doesn't really have to. And I think it might be nice if I go like general, like I go around England a bit and do a little bit more voices, because there's quite a lot of characters that need to play. And doing Liverpudlian, I don't want them to all sound the same. Like, yeah, I can go higher for some and deeper for some, but if I do a different region of England or Scotland or Wales or Ireland, then you know it's a different character. But yeah, that's it really. But the run through went really well. I'm excited for next week. I'm not there on Tuesday because I have an audition. But I'm excited to play Sammy a bit more. I'm really excited to that. Because I haven't actually done the scenes prior to the song. There's like a little scene before where he spits on Mickey. I'm excited to try that out and see where my Sammy ends up. And my narrator, he has a lot coming for, he's a conductor where he's directly in front of each principal character and they see him and he sees them. I have some more songs. I have quite a lot. I have about 2 pages of just me, which I haven't looked at yet. So, but I think from this week learning, I need to make sure the script is learned so that the characterisation can come along a lot faster, because I think that's why my gynecologist was so good, because I was so confident on the words. So if I'm confident on the words, then I should be confident with the characterisation. So yeah, thank you very much for listening.